Coming. Welcome to our first team captains meeting for the 2024 year and the first in-person team captains meeting that we have had since 2020. My name is Jessica Otto-Gay, and I am the Fundraising and Team Captains Associate here at the PMC. We appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and as always, we appreciate the hard work and dedication you give to your team. PMC 2024 is a pretty special year because we are going to pass $1 billion raised for Dana-Farber. Tonight, we will have a presentation from a Dana-Farber doctor, and we will cover some important dates, a team management review, fundraising pointers, the Pedal Partner Program, and at the end, we will have a breakout and we'll give you all an opportunity to ask some questions. I now have the opportunity of introducing the PMC's founder and executive director, Billy Starr.
Thank you, Jessica, and all praise to Jessica, who continues to bring this program to a higher level. She's done a great job ever since she's been on board, and I think we're 5 years plus now. So accelerating the team captain part of what we do, and I'll get to that in a second, has become a bigger and bigger element of PMC leadership, and she does a great job of orchestrating. So briefly, I'm going to give you a little just tale of the tape of where we stand right now. It's a good report. Registration just passed 5,700 today. We're up about 200 riders here today, which is, interestingly enough, pretty much been consistent for the 3 months plus that registration has been open. Whether we grow, contract, or pull away will be determined in the spring season. And obviously, one thing I say to you, you probably in this room represent riders who are not yet registered and committed. Put the thumb on them. Get them in. You are not with us until you're committed and your credit card is in the system. We all know people like that. And I know I'm not speaking about anyone in this room because I know you all too well. So, and thank you for that. We're also at about 2,100 volunteers registered, and they too, they're off great guns for what we hope is a full return to almost 4,000, and we're up about 11% year to date on volunteer registration. That's a great sign as we build momentum year after year towards retaining a pre-COVID presence on PMC weekend. And of course, while we have a year-round program, PMC weekend is the Super Bowl. There's no question about it. It probably represents 97% of the annual gift occurs through the efforts of the registered, the reimagined, and the virtual rider, he or she committed and showing up in whatever capacity on PMC weekend. Obviously, we've got a growing winter cycle, which just clocked in at about 750,000 and probably another 20% growth as it went off about 2 years ago over what it was. The unpaved from last fall continues to grow. And all of these things have not only refer them spokes in the wheel, but psychic connection as people may in fact matriculate along with our Kids Rides program into one event or another. The reality is, once you have a fundraising base, once you really get PMC culture, and of course funding cancer research for Dana-Farber, using the PMC, and of course the critical, and I am here announce, confirmed that we will again do 100% pass-through, come hell or high water, but I can guarantee it, for the 17th or 18th straight year. And that has proven to be year after year probably the most compelling selling point of our culture and how we do what we do. Point being that we have a year-long connection with our people, and an ever-extending fundraising base of anyone who cares to take a position on a bicycle funding cancer research at Dana-Farber through the PMC world. So getting back to you, as we said, this is the year to be 1 billion. For those of you, and I'm looking at Tim Brightman maybe in this case, probably Gary Brodsky, but for those of you who go back maybe to 1989, anyone go back to 89? Tim, anybody else? Yeah. So that was when I coined the phrase 1 in a million, because that was going to be the year that we first raised $1 million. And, you know, I had a friend that worked for Rune Arledge, big executive, and, you know, he couldn't quite see where the PMC fed into a marketing broadcast package. And I won't quote it because it may be inappropriate to say what he said to me, but it was very motivating as he diminished my work. But I said to myself, God, you know, if I can get to $1 million, this is big time. You know, this is the real deal. And it was that year. And obviously, we've known for some time that this day would come. And I will say with good humor and humility, if we only do $1 billion, it's a scandal because we only need about 28 million to get there. If we do 28 million, we're in big trouble. But we will, I would like to think, probably in the June quarter, hit that $1 billion plateau as we start our way to the second $1 billion. I can't necessarily say to you that what happens on PMC weekend, you know, so we're not bringing in Bruce Springsteen. I wouldn't pay for him. He said, can I please perform? I said, no, you got to do it for free. We're not doing that. What we do is execute. And that's where bringing in team captains has helped take it to another level. What is shared here tonight and your voice with your constituencies is critical to the execution of an extremely sophisticated event with people with really different agendas, but all of whom hope to get to the finish line in one piece. Easier said than done. With routes merging, roads not closed, weather elements, climate change, and the popularity of Cape Cod. We're just lucky we got there ahead of everyone else because we are too important to fail. Not that we would, but with your help, we can execute at a level that pretty much for a very long time have brought in leaders of business to say to me, geez, I wish my business worked like PMC, because it's palpable. Anybody who rides a bike kind of knows what we go through on a daily basis of not being appreciated while we seek our recreation and health. But on PMC weekend, I'd like to say that you are a king or a queen, and that the trained volunteer corps are not only anticipating needs, but are bringing forth a level of affection and appreciation that we don't necessarily see from our children or our bosses in daily life. But you do see it on PMC weekend, and really the end product is that memory, that expression comes out that, you know, you and your teammates raise big money. And collectively, though it may be about 4 weeks away, we will probably announce a goal somewhere around $75 million. Not public. I don't mind. It's like expected of us. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. When you're creating world records year after year, getting over that bar becomes a little harder. And most of that is predicated on registration. So up 3.5% is good. We hope we end up at least 3%, and 250 to 300 more riders than a year ago. Last comment I'll make, because it's probably most of you, as the 2-day ride to Provincetown is strong return to Provincetown. Provincetown will end up 200 to 400 more than a year ago. That's guaranteed. And I will say, if you got people who are, again, procrastinating, We do expect to close the monument finish soon, and then Provincetown will be over and done with. But we've got the growth numbers we had hoped for. It came out early and big, not as big to the other routes, and certainly a lot of people have come through the system, matriculating up from one-day riders to two-day riders, and they do raise, probably on average in P-Town, about $12,000 a person. Pretty amazing. So that's a good report. My next job is to introduce Ann LaCasce. And Ann is a 15-year rider, part of Team Flames, who is one of our four biggest teams. Collectively, that team did about 1.3 million. That I know by heart. The rest, when you get these, these really amazing doctors, you got to read, because I can't do this off the cuff. And Ann, I apologize, it's abbreviated. But Ann LaCasce, MD, Associate Professor of Medicine and Director of the Dana-Farber Mass General Brigham Fellowship in Hematology Oncology. Ann is a lymphoma specialist and is the Director of the Dana-Farber Mass General Fellowship in Hematology Oncology. She serves on the Alliance Lymphoma Committee, the National Cancer Comprehensive Lymphoma Guidelines Panel, and the Lymphoma Research Foundation Scientific Advisory Committee. Please welcome Ann, and thank you all very much. I know you all do your job.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Let me see here if I can figure out how to get my slides. Yeah. You think I know how to do this? I've given 1,000 presentations. All right.
Make me feel better.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks. Thanks again, and thanks to Jessica. So I have to show a picture of our team and our fabulous team captain, J.D. Hale, and his lovely wife, Cindy, and our fellow partners from last year there. So we have a great team. So I won't belabor the mission. I think everyone here is probably well aware of Dana-Farber's mission, and it's included in this, the PMC Impact publication on your table here. But I wanted to underline one of the things that I think is really important to our mission of taking care of cancer patients and improving therapies, and that is to train the next generation of people who are going to be caring for patients and making discoveries and running this center. So, this is a big place. We see a lot of patients. We had about nearly 100,000 total patients seen last year, with over 500,000 visits. We have over 1,000 clinical trials, which is really quite remarkable. And this is how we test novel agents that improve the standard of care for our patients. And when you look at the impact of the PMC on what we do here in this big pie chart, it's really, unbelievable how much this allows us to be able to do what we need to do. And you can see the distribution across all the disease centers. It's really, I think, unparalleled in any cancer center in the US. And I just want to take a minute and sort of talk about what is training the next generation? What is a fellow? What is it that we do here? So a fellow, it's not an obvious term. It is someone who is at a certain degree in their training. So first, you have a medical student, and then a medical student becomes an intern, a resident, a fellow, and then an attending, which is what I am. And I'll go through this in a little more detail. So folks who decide they want to go into medicine obviously do 4 more years of college. And then a lot of individuals who want to pursue a career in medicine actually take a gap year or more than one gap year. I took 5 years a long time ago to do something else, to really make sure it's what they want to do, or to pursue some research and really try to hone in on what their interests are. And then these individuals, it's not easy, particularly this day and age, to get into medical school. And a lot of our fellows actually do both an MD and a PhD. Some do an MD alone, but this takes anywhere from 4 years to in excess of 8 years of training. And this, as you know, is very expensive. People take out a lot of loans. And then once you've graduated from medical school, you're a physician, but you really can't do much as a physician without additional what we call postgraduate training. So I'm going to talk about internal medicine. Those of us who are oncologists all train in internal medicine. So the first year is the intern. You've probably seen this on TV shows. You're at the bottom of the totem pole. You're running around. In my day, we were up all night. We were, shuttling around x-rays, things that don't really happen anymore. But this is where you really learn how to be a doctor and take care of patients, and you see people across all different types of medical problems. And a lot of our fellows come from the Brigham or Mass General, where they see a lot of oncology, and a lot of them really fall in love with the idea of becoming an oncologist during this training. And then after your first year, you become a resident, and you spend 2 or 3 years really honing your skills, your leadership skills, your teamwork skills, and your knowledge base, and really deciding what it is you want to do next. Do you want to be a cardiologist? Do you want to be an oncologist? And fortunately, a lot of people want to be oncologists because of the work we do and because of the advances in the field. We have a lot of scientists who really are interested in discovering the next novel therapy or really making things better for our patients with cancer. So we get about 450 applications to our fellowship. We interview about 50, and then there's this process called the match. It's very strange. So if you are applying for fellowship, you don't go out and interview and negotiate. You get invited for an interview, you go to the interviews, and then you make a list. Where do you want to go? So if you want to come here, you rank us number 1. So each applicant makes a list of where they want to go, and then each program makes a list of who they want. And then you send it into this computer program, and then you get an assignment. In my day, you got an actual envelope. Here's where you're going. So it's a very odd process, but we now are matching 16 fellows, which is one of the largest programs in the U.S. And then what do our fellows do? During their first year, they really get exposed to all of clinical oncology and hematology. They spend most of their time in the clinics. So if you see any of the physicians here, they're often working with a fellow. The fellow is working with our patients. They're unbelievably bright and motivated. I learn from the fellows all the time. They know the science. They're really incredible individuals. And they see everything across all the solid tumors, malignant hematology. They do some inpatient work, so they take care of our patients at the Brigham and Mass General. And then during the course of the first year, they sort of decide what do they want to hone in on, because most of us here go very narrow and deep. So we really want to take care of patients with one area of disease so that we can really, know those clinical trials and and work towards improving outcomes in that very narrow field. So our fellows then, they have a continuity clinic, so they'll follow patients throughout the rest of their training here in one disease area, and then they decide what kind of research they want to do. Do they want to be in the lab? Do they want to do clinical trials and try to bring new therapies to the clinic? Or do they want to do health services research and look at big databases, look at cost effectiveness, look at care delivery? Our fellows do all these different things. And then the majority of our fellows stay in academic practice. And there are a lot of different ways you can have a practice. You can do clinical work, you can do clinical work and research, you can do mostly research. And we have all of these types of individuals here at Dana-Farber. And what's really key is we're able to fund our fellows to do whatever it is they want to do. And that is not true at the vast majority of programs around the country. And the reason that we can do that, a lot of it is through philanthropy. So our fellows are paid the first year. We have money from the government to pay for graduate medical education, but beyond that, we have to cover our fellows. So we have a large fellowship, and some of our fellows are fellows for more than 4 or 5 years. And because of the philanthropy, we're able to support fellows through the entire duration of their training. And that really allows them to pursue things that they might not be able to pursue at other places. So I went back and found, some of you may know some of these individuals here. These are pictures from the fellowship. The fellowship started in 1973. Bob Mayer was the first fellowship program director and did it for 35 years. So you can see these are all black and white. We finally emerged into the color photos about after me. It was like 2002. So you can see Rich Stone. You can see, some of you may know Ben Ebert. He's the chair of medical oncology. He's absolutely brilliant. So these folks, a lot of them trained here, and many of the physicians here who take care of patients actually did their training here because they can't imagine working anywhere else, myself included. And then in 1996, the program expanded and took 14 fellows, and you can see some notable people here. Do I have a pointer here? Let's see. So here's Dan D'Angelo. He's a Flames rider. He's very fast. I've never been able to ride with. I'm terrified of riding with him. This is Hal Burstein. He's one of our breast cancer docs. This is Wendy Chen, breast cancer. Bill Hahn, he's here. He's our chief scientific officer. And this is Ned Sharpless. He was the director of the National Cancer Institute. And this was all in one class. This class was fellows when I was an intern at the Brigham, so I'd have to page them overnight, knowing, oh no, I have a new leukemia patient. What am I going to do? And I'd have to page one of these individuals, and they were amazing and walked us through caring for the patients. You can't talk about the fellowship without mentioning Bill Kalin. So he was a fellow in the class of 1987 and works here, runs a very well-established lab, and was awarded the Nobel Prize in 2019. So this is our group of first-year fellows. This is extraordinary group. They're hopefully some of you will get to meet some of them someday, but they're unbelievably talented, smart individuals. And the Flames have an award that we give to our fellows. So they apply with a project, and these are former fellows who were awarded money to do research that really has propelled their careers. Jennifer Crombie, she's in our group. Lymphoma group here, Sam Ng, he's at the NCI in Bethesda. Aaron Perry, also in our group. Fred Tsai and Natalie Javidi are still fellows, but this money actually allows them to do their work. And they are, I can tell you, these individuals are brilliant. So then I thought I'd have to tell you a little bit about my own PMC journey, and I'll tell you about this woman here in a second. So I did my first PMC in 2010. I'm not innately very athletic. I was the quintessential band nerd, grew up in Maine. So I was very intimidated to get on a bike and ride for this distance. And you can see this is my first bike, which is a hybrid. I was very proud to get pedals. And the first day, I mean clip-ins. So the first day I went around the neighborhood, I got this, go up my driveway, up the hill, and traffic going by. Yeah. So that was a really auspicious way to start. This is my son, Henry, who's now 18. And the people who got me into this were on the Flames. Arnie Friedman, who's a lymphoma physician here, he and his wife said, oh, let's do the 50 miles. It's really fun. So it was fantastic. And I did that for a number of years until last year. And then you can see here, this is my patient, Mary Worthington Katchadurian. She's featured in the Impact handout here. She's unbelievable. So she was in the midst of treatment in 2022, and I'm riding my little 50-mile loop, and she decided she was just going to do 50. She's very, very athletic, and every stop I would see her, and she's like, you got to go further than the Wellesley Loop. You got to go to Bourne. I was like, no. So we did it last year, and this is Tom from our Flames team. He just shepherded me and my friend. This is Sharon Bober. She's the director of sexual health here, and we had a blast. So next year, I've signed up. You see, haven't done so well on the fundraising part yet. And you'll be happy to see I actually have a real bike now, so this is not a hybrid. Hopefully I won't fall off too many times. So with that, here's just another picture of Flames. This is Rich Stone, who's a leukemia doc here. Some of you may know he's amazing, and Kathleen McDermott. So happy to take any questions. But again, thank you for what you do. I mean, you can't imagine what this funding does for training the next generation of people who are going to lead cancer care, take care of our patients, our family members, all of us probably at some point in our lives, and to bring home all these new therapies that are going to, things have changed dramatically since I started here on staff more than 20 years ago. It's really quite amazing. Yes.
When you talked about the fellows, so it sounds like, so I'm not sure who they are, like they're residents that become fellows or?
So you're a resident first, so you have
Okay.
to get training in internal, to be a hematology oncology fellow, you have to have completed internal medicine training. So you have to know how to manage heart disease, kidney disease, you have to know how to manage the whole patient.
Okay.
And then you decide you're gonna do oncology, and then you have to do yet another, at least 3 years of additional, 2 to 3 years, though some of our fellows do much longer, training in order to be an attending. That's sort of the, the destination is to be an attending
Okay.
oncologist. So if you see a physician in the clinic and you see an attending, they're often working with a fellow. And the
Okay.
fellow may come in first and see you and work together with. So we're training these fellows to become attending oncologists.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to be on the stem cell cyclist and we
Yes.
and we funded Dr. Cutler.
Cutler. So he was in my class. He was my
Okay.
fellowship class.
So he was in your fellowship class.
Yes.
But I know once we funded him, he would tell us what he used the funding for.
Right.
And he hired a fellow.
Right.
So I thought that was, like, I can see what you're saying in terms of you're training the next generation with the funding.
Yeah, the term fellow is used for so many different things.
Yeah.
This has a very specific meaning in training.
And I saw the doctor, I'm on Team Ovarian Cancer, and the doctor we fund, I saw her in the fellow picture. She was one of the fellows, Dr. Metalunas.
Oh, Dr. Metalunas, who's,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. So there she was.
Amazing, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, and it supports the work she does and, her team, the research they do, the people they hire, the whole infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah, it really makes an enormous, we couldn't do it without the funding from.
And so are you saying that the PMC funding allows them to have that, that can go towards fellows and helps with the training?
Right, it helps with the training, it helps with the projects that they do, it helps with everything we do here.
Okay.
We're able to do because of this. It's a really unique situation that, my friends at other cancer centers are like, oh my gosh, we need that, right? JD.
Hi, Ann. Can you just explain on the FLAIR award, the
Yes.
fact that grants, one of the things that's been explained to our team is that it's hard to secure the first grant.
Right.
And so once you get that first grant, you're more likely to get another grant. Is that correct?
That's true. So for our fellows who want to do research, so say you want to run a lab or you want to investigate something, you have to find, and you're no longer a fellow or you are a fellow, you have to find the funding in order to do that. And these grants now are extremely competitive. So to get a National Cancer Institute grant is very, very competitive. And in order to, as you said, you want to show a track record of having been recognized for your excellence. And if you, the FLAIR award, we have a panel of people who review these. You have to write a proposal and say, here's what I plan to do. This is what I'm studying. This is why I'm studying it. This is what I'm going to use the money for. So that, they put on their CV, and when they apply for another grant, they have a track record. And particularly for people who want to do clinical research. So laboratory-based research, there's a lot of opportunities for funding. If you want to run clinical trials or, study a database, finding the money to support that is in some ways a lot more difficult. And these types of smaller grants really get people started on doing that work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. Yes.
Yeah, could you just speak about, we kind of quote this a lot at the PMC, so just driving drug development. More than half of all cancer drugs approved by the FDA in the past 5 years were developed with significant contributions from Dana-Farber investigators, thanks to PMC funding. So we added the thanks to PMC funding, of course, but can you just talk a little bit more in depth, like what does that quote?
What does that mean? So,
Yeah, what does that mean, like when we're involved in the past 5 years, more than half?
Right, so we have people who are working in the lab. So say I'm studying, multiple myeloma comes to mind, so it's a blood cancer. So people here are doing work to try to understand why is this normal cell called the plasma cell become a cancer. So that takes a lot of money to try to figure out what are the pathways in those cells that are driving it to grow and invade and to define a cancer. So once they sort of understand those pathways, then you can develop drugs that actually interfere with those pathways and can help destroy those cancer cells. And that's the era we're in now, is we're using these targeted drugs or immunotherapy or things that, immunotherapy, one of the people who really discovered the molecule that led to this whole host of immunotherapy drugs that have changed the treatment of melanoma. When I was a fellow, melanoma was unbelievably difficult to treat. Now that's not true. Kidney cancer, all of these things came from discoveries in labs here. And then once that discovery is made, then you develop a drug, and then you may work with a pharmaceutical company or a biotech, and you collaborate with them to bring that drug to clinical trials. So then you want to test that drug in a population of patients who have a particular cancer and see, does it work? What are the side effects? And then eventually the goal is to take those drugs to the FDA and say, look, we have great data. This drug really works. It needs to be approved. And a lot of these new drugs, myeloma is a prime example. The therapy for that disease has changed completely in the 20 years that I've been doing this. And a lot of the discoveries in the new drugs were developed here. Ken Anderson, Paul Richardson, Nikhil Munshi. It's unbelievable what has changed. And the funding to do that work comes directly from the PMC. There aren't a lot of places where we have that kind of funding to support the research infrastructure. And say you're running a lab, you have to get grant funding every year to keep your lab moving. And sometimes it's very competitive, or you may have a grant that runs out, and then the funding priorities from the government may change. So you really need to have that money to keep the lab going, so that you can go on to the next discovery that may lead to a novel drug and change the prognosis and outcome of patients that we treat. So it's really unbelievable that we have this. Yeah.
This is a very general question, and I know the answer is all across the board, but if you have a fellow with a concept, something they want to research, order of magnitude, what kind of money, what kind of money would be a good grant to get?
So,
what would get someone very excited on the research side of things that might still be somewhere in the number range that I can even think about making a difference with?
Well, so our fellows, when they want to become faculty, they have to come, if they're going to be doing in the lab and not just, and you see patients, you get funding for that from you earn money for that. But if you're going to do research, you have to support that, you have to support yourself to do that. So even grants that are like $25,000, $50,000 can actually fund a fellow to become an instructor. And then once they're an instructor, they're in a mentor, so they're in somebody else's lab. So if they're in like Ben Ebert's lab, so Ben has a very well-funded lab from the NCI, he's got lots of money, but he needs to be able, to support all these different people. So we can fund that fellow. And then once that fellow makes discoveries and writes some, really writes a paper, then they apply for what's called a K grant, a K08 grant that really gets them started on their independent lab career. But any amount actually makes a big difference, because fellows, we guarantee fellows can stay fellows as long as they want. For their own career development, they're going to want to move along, but they have to have that grant funding in order to do it. And that's what the FLAIR money actually has allowed our fellows to actually become independent and then start their careers. And without that funding, they stay a fellow, which is fine. We keep the fellows as long as, because we believe in them and we know they're eventually going to do great things. But, it's kind of, they want to get on to the next and actually become, get a real salary, because fellows don't, they want to be attending because you make a little more money when you're an attending.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I just want to say, I think you were saying it before. I mean, my experience is like, if you fund a doctor and you could use your PMC money to fund a doctor that hasn't been funded, all of a sudden they show up on other funding sources' radar.
That's right.
So that's what
that's what JD was saying.
JT was talking about. So I'm not sure what the FLAIR thing means, but I know PMC funding can make that kind of difference.
Right.
Because I know the doctor we funded, it was like right at the beginning of his career, and we didn't give him millions of dollars. We gave him our PMC funding, and from that he got funding. Like multi-million-dollar federal grants eventually.
Right, it's like
Because
seed
we
money.
started that funding
Right, so
stream.
it's like a proof of principle. You can say, okay, I have an idea.
Yeah.
And I can show you that that idea is going to be successful. And then you
Yeah.
can sell that idea to national funders and bring in money to support the work.
Well, and
Yeah.
PMC funding can go to, like the principal investigators.
Right.
And the lab people.
Right.
They love, I didn't realize like what a big difference we make.
Oh, enormous.
This is the first, after 26 years, I'll tell you this year, because, Dr. Romy, and
Yeah.
that's the fund that, we're working with him on his protocol. He wants us to come in and have coffee with him. I'm thinking, why do you want to have coffee with us? It's like, because we are like guaranteed funding, like we work for him.
Right.
And I love this, because the doctors are everything. Like if we can make a difference for the doctors who do the research, that makes a difference for the cancer. It's like,
Right.
it's all
Like it
connected.
all feeds together. Yeah.
It's very exciting. So anyway, I'm excited. I don't know about everything. Well, I'm really excited.
Great.
Thank you.
Caitlin, my remote isn't
You know
working.
I think that's because you can't trust me.
Here we go. It's working
I
now.
thought this was mine. Flash drive. This one? Does it work now? Oh, there we go.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. LaCasce. Dr. LaCasce was my late dad's oncologist, so she has a very special place in my family's heart, and I very much appreciate her taking the time to join us tonight and to talk about her research. So to get into the nitty-gritty part of our meeting, some important date reminders, which can be found on the back of the yearbook and on our website as well. April 27th is our Pedal Partner Party, which Katie will talk more about. April 30th is our rider orientation at the PMC office. All riders are welcome, new alumni along with riders that are not yet registered but are interested in learning more about the PMC. May 10th is our heavy hitter evening at Encore. Invites will be sent out next month. May 22nd is another PMC rider orientation. This one will be on Zoom. June 6th is our Young Professionals Night. June 7th is the PMC at the Woo Sox. July 12th is PMC at Fenway Park. And of course, as Billy would say, the big enchilada. August 3rd and 4th is PMC weekend. And again, these can all be found on the back of the yearbook, and we have all of these dates on our website. Can I ask everyone, can you raise your hand if you were at PMC's Unpaved last fall? Now can you raise your hand if you had an amazing experience at our Unpaved event last fall? So Unpaved is our off-roading gravel event held in the Berkshires and will be held on September 28th, 2024. Registration for Unpaved will open for summit fundraisers on April 2nd, alumni riders on the 4th, and that is all PMC alumni, not just PMC Unpaved alumni. And general registration for Unpaved will open on April 9th. Great people mixed with a real camp vibe. It really creates the ultimate experience for our Unpaved riders. Now, our PMC check presentation will be held on Saturday, November 16th, 2024. Save the dates have been sent out, and tickets will go on sale in the fall. And you really won't want to miss this celebration of our 2024 gift and of our billion-dollar year. For those looking to recruit more riders onto their team, we do still have some route options open. Our Sunday routes from Babson, the 25, 50, and 100-mile Century routes are all open. The Monument Finish in P-Town is also still open for now, but we anticipate that that will sell out before we reach PMC weekend. And for return transportation from P-Town, the PMC Party Ferry is still available along with all of the bus options. And you can add that to your registration through your PMC dashboard. Some additional points to keep in mind for 2024. Massage will be held in a similar fashion to 2023, first come, first serve. I also want to note that similar to 2023, we will be able to welcome guests at all sites except for MMA and the P-Town Inn. Guest meal tickets are available on our website for Sturbridge, Wellesley, and the Monument Finish, but you can also purchase meal tickets the day of the event at all 3 sites. Now on to some team management pointers, specifically designated funds. If a rider did not designate their funds last year, are a new rider this year, or are returning after a hiatus, they will not have the option to designate their funds during registration. These riders will just want to send me a request via email with the fund information, and from there, I will add the designation to their account. And you, as the team captain, have the ability to view team rider designation status for the members of your team through your PMC dashboard. After you log in, you'll click the Team tab, then click Manage Team. From there, you will click the Select a Filter dropdown, and you can select either unrestricted fundraising or restricted fundraising. Both terms have been used interchangeably. We prefer to use designated funds, but restricted funds is the long time use, so it still comes in and out, but we would prefer to use designated fundraising. That will give you a list of riders that have designated their funds and a list of riders that have not yet designated their funds. I ask that you review this information often and come to me with any questions. We ask that you have the designation information wrapped up with all requests into me by June 30th. And I will also point out for the new captains and any captains that need a refresher, this is also where you will add members to your team. Now, a rider needs to be a registered rider or a registered virtual rider in order for you to add them to the team. And I can tell many of you have really jumped headfirst into 2024 fundraising, which is absolutely incredible. As you know, it is your job to encourage, motivate, and guide your riders while they fundraise. Encourage all new riders and alumni riders to start or continue their fundraising by reviewing our 2024 fundraising guide. It contains so many helpful tips, tools, and ideas on how to launch a successful fundraising campaign. And you can find the fundraising guide on our website under the Resources tab. Now, a new way to fundraise, old to some of you, is through DAF Pay. We have launched a new giving tool that makes it really easy for your donors to make a donation from their donor advised fund right through our website in 3 easy clicks. Most DAF providers, including Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, and thousands more, can be used through this tool. In 2023 alone, the PMC received over 7,000 DAF grants worth over $6 million just from Fidelity donors alone. The DAF widget is really easy to use, but don't hesitate to reach out to me or to have your donors reach out to me if you have any questions. Now, on to one of my favorite topics, which is matching gifts. Donors have the ability to request a match through their company for the donations they make to the PMC. In 2023 alone, $3.4 million was raised just in matching gifts. I recommend everyone including this in their fundraising ask. Many people don't realize that their companies will match, and we have implemented a platform on our website that makes it really easy to search for a company and to view their match process. Some important reminders to keep in mind about matching gifts are the name of the donation made to the PMC and the name on the match request should be the same name. This makes the process of tying a match to the intended rider's account much more seamless. You would be surprised at how many people, whose spouses have different last names from them. One will make the donation, one will make the match request, and it's not always as easy as it should be to tie those two together. Encourage your donors to include your rider name or your rider ID somewhere on their match request. There should be a comment field. There are a lot of different platforms that companies use to, facilitate matching gifts, but there should always be a place for the donor to include your rider name and rider ID. Again, this just really makes the process much more seamless for me to be able to apply the match to the intended rider's account. And there can be up to a 3-month delay between the time the donor requests the match through their company and the time a rider sees the match in their account. This is completely normal and usually to be expected. I can always apply the match to the rider's account up front if email confirmation is sent to me, which I know a lot of you are really good about doing and really good about encouraging your donors to send those to me. This is something that the donor would need to send to you or to me, which I really understand can be awkward at times to ask for, but I just really emphasize that this information allows us to be 100% sure that we are applying the match as the donor intended. In 2023, we had 3,700 registered volunteers, and as you know, we would not be able to facilitate the event weekend without this dedicated group. We are still in need of volunteers for medical, luggage, site beautification at all sites, even more so specifically the green team at MMA, which is a team specific to reducing our waste and plastic consumption at MMA. We are also in need of massage volunteers. So if you know a massage therapist, please reach out to them and see if they would be willing to volunteer their time during PMC weekend. Massage information cards are available here for you to take. They're right on the table outside of the door. Please contact our wonderful Director of Volunteers, Justine Darmanian, if you have questions or want more information. And it is now my pleasure to introduce our Marketing and Sponsorship Coordinator, Katie Iwanowitz, who will speak on our Pedal Partner Program.
Thank you, Jessica. Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Iwanowitz. Like Jessica said, I am the Marketing and Sponsorship Coordinator here at the PMC. I also coordinate our Pedal Partner Program. So are there any first-year team captains here? Woo! I wish I had my cowbells for you. So congratulations. Really excited to have you here. For those of you who know and for those of you who don't, our Pedal Partner Program partners pediatric patients at the Jimmy Fund Clinic that you walked by over the PMC bridge, walked right past it, partners those clinic patients with PMC riders and teams. My first couple of months here, I was able to visit the Jimmy Fund Clinic, went to meet the staff there, and it wasn't lost on me that that journey over to the Jimmy Fund Clinic was over the PMC bridge. There's that connection that we have here with the building, but the program's really an opportunity to form that tangible connection with patients who are being treated here at Dana-Farber. While a lot of us have been touched by cancer, being able to form that connection with a young person who is going through cancer is really special, and it's an honor and a privilege to be able to coordinate the program. So for 2024, like Jessica said, we will be kicking off the program on April 27th at the 521 Overlook at Fenway Park, and that is where we will be having our Pedal Partner Party. We've invited Pedal Partner teams and Pedal Partners and families themselves to join us. So we're really excited for that. We've already had over 150 RSVPs. If you haven't RSVP'd and this is jogging your memory, make sure you do that before April 19th. I'll be sure to send up follow-up emails. If you have any questions, please let me know. This past February, I was able to return back to the Jimmy Fund Clinic to sign up Pedal Partners in person, which was really special, like the team captains meetings. There were a lot of things that we weren't able to do here at Dana-Farber because of COVID restrictions, but now we're able to come back and be all together and be able to meet those patients and form those connections, so that they know there are people there to support them, and we know that we're supporting people and really making a difference with our fundraising. So I really appreciate all of you being here. Some team captains are also the pedal partner contact. If you're not the contact for your team, be sure to check in with them if you have any questions. Of course, you can always let me know. My email is just katie@pmc.org. Pretty easy, straightforward to follow. Again, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I'll be around if you have any questions. Please just let me know. Thank you.
And I see people ferociously taking pictures and notes. I just want to let you know that we are going to be sharing a recording of this meeting and the slide presentation. So rest assured that you are not going to miss anything if you miss taking a picture of the slide. All right, so many of you return year after year because of your dedication to not only the PMC and Dana-Farber, but because of your deep dedication to your team as well. And I would love to bring this sense of team camaraderie to new riders, not only to show them an amazing PMC experience, but to help grow alumni participation in the future as well. Connecting new riders looking for a team with an established team that will emphasize the team mission and PMC's mission to new riders creates a win-win really for both parties. I'm reaching out to riders that do not have a team affiliation, that have been riding for more than a year but less than 5 years, to see if I can match them to a team based on their location, riding style, and their main reasons for riding. I know many of you have expressed that you are looking to grow your teams, and my goal is to help do that with and for you. So if your team is looking to accept new riders, please send me an email, and we can chat and have a conversation further past that. I also wanted to extend a reminder to any teams that plan on hosting team fundraisers or team events in 2024. I would love to attend as many as I can. So if you would like PMC presence at your event, please send me an email and I'll attend if possible. I have been to some great events for Team Ovarian Cancer, Team Patriot Platelet Peddlers. So please, if you are open to having an extra guest at your event, please send me an email, and I would love to be able to be there. Now it is time for our breakout session. So I am going to give the tables about 15 minutes to discuss the breakout topics I have for you with the other captains at your table. At the end of the 15 minutes, I'm going to ask that one captain representative from each table come up to the podium and give a very brief 1 to 2 minute overview of what you discussed at the table. And I'm going to leave this slide up here so everybody can see it while you're chatting. But the breakout topics that we really want you to discuss, that there are a lot of important topics, but we kind of narrowed it down to these three. What are some unique fundraising practices that your team uses? What recruitment tactics does your team use, especially if you are trying to grow your team? And especially the very important topic of PMC weekend etiquette and safety. How can you encourage your team to go through PMC weekend in the safest way possible so everybody on the road has a great experience? And I will be kind of, walking around the room. So if you guys have any questions and if you guys want to talk amongst yourselves, I will let you know when the 15 minutes is up. So have a great time and have some good conversation.
I think it's all right.
All right, everybody. If you want to wrap up your conversation, I'm going to start bringing up representatives from 1, 2, 3, eyes on me.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, everybody. Again, we're going to bring up a representative from each table, and I'm sorry to put the pressure on you guys like that, but I know you're going to do great because you always do great. Is there a table that would like to volunteer to go first? And if not, I will pick. But if there's a table that wants to go first. Oh, wait, we have a volunteer that's going to go first.
There's a special reason why you're going first. I was the only team captain at my table.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would have brought you to another table, but I bet you still had a great conversation.
I accidentally sat down at the table with the PMC employees, so I got zero feedback. So they said, "You're." So my name is Carl Halpin. I'm the captain of Team Sienna. We started our team in 2017. I've been the team captain for the last 4 years. I started our team fundraising yesterday, and as of right now, I've raised $91,250. So we are a construction company, construction management company. So we host a golf tournament every year. My main tactic is I lean on my subcontractors. Our jersey has logos in the back, similar to PMC, and I assign price tags to the logos, and you get an 8-ball or a 4-ball for the golf tournament. So we have my flyer, because I was fundraising today. We've got diamond, platinum, gold, silver, sponsor your name on the golf ball, lunch bag, everything else. So that's our biggest fundraising tool. And then as well as that, I have a minimum for my riders. We've got 16 riders this year. Our team fund will obviously fund evenly through everyone's account, but I force my riders to have a minimum of $2,000. So they supplement a little bit by themselves for their own personal fundraising, and our team subsidizes the rest. What other question was there? That was my fundraising goals or tactics. What else did we have that we have to discuss? Recruitment. So recruitment, there's Sienna is 70 employees. We started off with 7 riders, and because we promote the PMC so much within our company, we've grown to 14 or 12 PMC or 12 Sienna employees. My son is 16. He's watched me ride since 2017. He's a first-time rider this year. Another one of our coworkers' daughter will be riding this year, and I've leaned on my subcontractors too. And their employees have 4 of their employees signed up this year to join our team. So we've gone from 7 to 16 in 7 years. We're happy with that number. Good to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, let's see. Can I get somebody from Captain Dan, Captain Steve, Captain Sean's table to volunteer to come up? Come on, Steve.
Then not the frog. Who said that? Who said that?
Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm Stephen Braffman. I'm the founder and captain of Team Kermit. My wife also is the founder, but she likes to defer captainship to me. We talked a lot about, also, just a couple of other things. This is my family's 21st year with the PMC, and it's Team Kermit's 20th anniversary. And we will, for our lifetime team fundraising, we will surpass $7 million this year. In the table, we talked a lot about team fundraising strategies and tactics, and some of the riders expressed that they do various kinds of team fundraising events, wine tasting, and other things. We as a team don't do them, although we have teammates that do band together and do their own events. And when they do their own events, they know how they're going to share that fundraising, which is perfectly fine, and I encourage it. As far as other team fundraising, I don't allow, as a captain, anybody who comes onto the team understands that you cannot share your fundraising unless it's with a family member who is on the same team. Everybody is expected to raise the minimum amount on their own, and we don't help them do that. The only time I've ever helped anybody is when some tragic event has happened, and then, that's a whole different story. But anybody who comes onto our team, which kind of leads me to the second question of recruiting, Team Kermit does not recruit. People come to us, and I have a very strict vetting process. And those of you that know me here know what that vetting process is. Nancy's been through it, for example, and she knows she's no longer, she jumped ship. She started her own team, which is perfectly fine.
I was an affiliate for a while. I got to affiliate, maybe a fellow. I don't know. No.
Because we want people on our team that we want to be around, that are heartfelt, that are in this for the long term, that are friendly, that are humanitarians, that are philanthropists in their own right. We don't want people who come and go. We don't want people to be on Team Kermit because they like how Kermit looks on their helmet. We're very serious about it. And we have had people that have inquired about the team, and when they begin to go through the vetting process, they decide that this is not the team for them, which I'm very happy about. We've never turned somebody down that Jessica has connected us with. She knows who we are and how we behave and what we're looking for. And that's, that we didn't get a chance to talk about the third topic today, but recruitment is an important topic. And I'll just leave you with, if you are going to recruit riders, if you're going to recruit people, get an idea first, if you don't already, about what you want your team to represent, how you want them to be, who you want them to be, and whether these are people that you want to be around and be friendly with. My wife loves to tell people when they ask about Team Kermit, she says, and we had 72 people on the team last year, she likes to say, Stephen is the only one on the team who knows everybody. And that's a fact, because we come from all over the place. We come from different states, as far away as California, different parts of New England. And I'm the only one on the team that knows everybody. And our teammates don't get a chance to ride with each other all year long. A lot of us do, because we're here in the metro area, but a lot don't. So yes, I'm the only one on the team that knows everybody, and there's not a single person on the team that I don't love. So I'll leave you with that.
All right, JD's table, not to single, but I see a person, I call them that table. Is it going to be you, JD?
Yep.
Of course. We're happy to have you.
I was with another team.
Right on that.
Hey, everybody. JD Hale with the Flames. And I had a really good table. Love my table. We talked about a bunch of things, and both Scott and I have teams that we've been around 23 years, and we were founded by my wife, Cindy Hale, who some of you may know, and two nurses here at Dana-Farber. So that's why we're sort of a little bit of a Dana-Farber team, because we still have doctors, and you saw Dr. Ann LaCasce today, because we have that sort of connection originally, having the nurses as part of the team. And this past year, we had 126 riders. So we've become a big team, and from a recruitment standpoint, I don't want to get too much bigger. So, it's a lot to work with, although Gary here has a bigger team, and I look up to him as a mentor, and he's told me a few things on how he handles that. So if it happens, it happens. I would always want the door to be open to the Flames, but at the same time, 126 is a lot of riders to sort of worry about and make sure they feel connected and part of what we do. But one of the things that's happening, similar to Scott and I, is that our sort of recruitment is the second generation. Because 3 of my children are riding, another one's a volunteer, and so that's happening. And guess what they're doing with their positive experience? They're bringing in new riders. So we're getting younger, which is great to see. And I think the challenge that I'm looking at and sort of studying is how to retain them. The way Stephen described that retention part of it is so important. And I actually was talking to someone that some of you may know, John Lees, on the way in, because he's helping me with data, just sort of information. Because I do have writers that haven't come back. I have 21 new writers coming on this year. So I'm just trying to understand a little bit more about why they haven't come back yet. They still can. And, but as I said to them, if they don't feel it, I don't want to be, I'm in sales and marketing, but I am not using those skills to keep them on. If they don't feel it, I don't really want them, right? They got to feel it. I know everyone in the room knows what I'm talking about. So at the same time, my friend, John Lee, said, well, they represent X in fundraising last year. So that was like, yeah, okay, we got to do something here. But each case is very different. Each case is unique, and so we'll look at them individually. We do have on the unique fundraising side of things, a couple of my members of my team, the younger members, have done pools with the NCAA tournaments, both men's and women's. And so I've seen that out there. We've got, events going on. Again, similar to Stephen, it's riders getting together and doing that. We don't do anything as a team. What we focus on as a team is just providing a lot of stories for them. The PMC provides stories, we provide stories. We're aligned, Katie's aligned us with a new pedal partner for this year, Zoe. We can't wait to meet her, and that's coming up. And we're communicating that out to the team. And Cindy just spent an hour and a half with the mom this week on the phone, so I could tell they totally hit it off. So that's going to be a great pedal partner. So, and then how do you take that and provide that out to the team in ways that they can tell the stories? That's part of what we do as a team. And then we have a whole team calendar. We use the PMC calendar, but we add to it. And so we had a new rider Zoom last week. We've got a fundraising Zoom coming up. We've got a social at a brewery coming up. So there's just different things we do in terms of sort of team bonding. So that's our recruitment, and that's some of our fundraising. What's left of my time is the last one there. We didn't talk about it, but I do want to bring it up. I think we as captains can really help the PMC experience by talking to our teams about safety and etiquette and really dedicate, right? I think the PMC office does an amazing job, but that's over their head. They'll put out a video, they'll do something like that, but we can be more one-on-one with our riders about what that is, what etiquette is on the bike, what safety is. And we can really help the PMC experience for these riders. I had riders that had some bad experiences out there last year. And so I've shared that with the PMC office. But I think what I also shared with them is I want to talk to my team about that and really improve that sort of experience and what we can do on the road to make it a great experience and remind people to help others and keep an eye on folks. And so anyway, we didn't talk about it at the table. I was hoping we'd get to that topic, but I really think that we as PMC captains can make a difference in terms of our communication out to our team just on that top of etiquette and safety. So I'm going to leave it with that. Thanks, Jessica.
Who won the coin toss, Captain Matt or Captain Gary?
I got it.
Heavy sigh.
He'll do it for me.
You know I will. Hi, Matt Dillis, Team Forza G, my 24th year riding, representing this beautiful table right here. Well, with the exception of. Anyway, unique fundraising idea, we talked about it. Individuals might have great fundraising ideas, individuals might have resources or things, but I've seen team members try so many different things. I'm going to do an event. I'm going to do a golf tournament. I'm going to put so much time and effort into creating this event, hoping to get X number of people to show up. And I remember when we first started, we had a team of 4, and I thought, wow, I put together an event after work for people I had worked with. I brought my 40 people, and I thought, oh, these other 3 people on the team will bring, at least 20 people each. We ended up with the same 40 people. Anyway, after many years, I've just come to the conclusion that the best way to get the money is to just ask and ask and ask. And part of what we're realizing now, it's, my 24th year, I've got some really old people other than me on the team now. So people are phasing out, shifting over to other rides, saying, I just can't do it anymore. And I say, fine. If you're done, I appreciate it. But don't just let that fundraising base that you grew over 10, 15 years, don't just let it die. If I write I'll write the letter for you. I'll write the email. Would you send it out and say, I've decided to retire, but the people I've been riding with for the past 10, 15 years are still carrying on. So please consider making a donation. And even if they're not raising $6,000, I'll take the $1,000 or the $1,500, $2,000 that they raise by just staying in the game just that much. Because I think we've all experienced it. I'm a little slow on getting my fundraising campaign going. I've got my regular donors who, we were worried. We thought maybe you weren't going to do it this year, but we knew that wasn't happening. So here's our donation before I even get to ask. So unique fundraising, ask and ask again. Recruitment. There used to be a time when I could easily draw the Forza G family tree. It started with people I worked with, and they brought in friends, and so on and so on. The family tree has gotten pretty gnarly, and I can't really trace it. I think we go out there. We are serious about what we do, but we're not too serious. It's the personalities of the people on our team that bring in other folks. And the one thing I've noticed, I just checked the numbers, but we have a significant portion of living proof riders. And, that's the unique fundraising option that you don't want to have that card, but, they have that unique special ask because they are survivors. But what else we got? Recruitment. Safety. Safety. We've been around long enough, and we've been around long enough that we've had both extremes. We've had super fast riders on the team, the kind who occasionally on a PMC Monday, I'd get the email from Billy, is this one of yours? And the kind of thing where Route 6A on Sunday morning is slow and heavy car traffic, and there's not a lot of room, and it's no place to be trying to stay in a peloton riding 35 miles an hour going out across the yellow line, zigging and zagging just so you can get to the Brewster Water stop that much faster. So we've lucked out in that the fast people are now slow people or have moved on to other pursuits. But at the other end of the spectrum, we have new riders. There's a lot more. I think there's a lot more people now who maybe cycled on a stationary bike and haven't put the time in out on the road. Aside from other riders and traffic, potholes in the past couple of years have been horrendous, and they'll eat your bike, and they've caused some pretty serious injuries for a couple of people on our team. I absolutely agree we should police our own teams. I think the worst thing that I saw last year, sometimes it's those fast people, but sometimes it's the super sociable people that like to ride across the entire lane. And I find myself back there yelling, car back, move it over. Because the worst interactions I saw with drivers last year were those frustrated folks on the back roads around Franklin or whatever who were just trying to get around and almost running head on into another car. I don't know that I want to call too many people out. I don't want to harsh mellows during the weekend, but if I see a team, I think, if it's a team behavior, I'm definitely going to try to report that back to the team captain, or if the team captain's in on that, we might have further discussions. But if they're not necessarily associated with a team, I don't know what you can do. Maybe, make a note, try to be polite, and ask again, please move over. Is that everything? Okay,
You did a good job.
I try.
That's all that matters. All right, so we just have 3 more tables, and you guys have been doing really good keeping it brief, and that isn't sarcasm. I really do appreciate it. You guys are doing a great job. So I'm going to call on Nancy and Tim's table if somebody wants to come up and say a couple words.
I'll volunteer. Team Fat Tuesday started in the team started 2001 when teams came together and pedal partners started being a special part of the event. And if any of you don't have a pedal partner, I highly recommend doing it. It brings so much more meaning to why you ride when you get to go visit. I always try to get pedal partners. I'll look over our connection. We have our pedal partner, but our pedal partner is within 20 miles of our basic location, which is Franklin, Mass. Unique fundraisers, as some of the others have said, we don't pool our money and pass it out. So when I've had people contact me and ask, can they join our team? I'm like, okay, you got to give me $25 to a team kitty. You have to raise your own money. And that ends the conversation right there. They're looking for corporate-based teams that will sponsor them. And if you are corporate-based, super. We're not corporate-based. We just haven't aligned that way. What was the second thing? That was part of the recruiting as well. The third, I keep forgetting, the etiquette and safety. I was talking to Jared just the other week. My team does a standing weekly ride from the Franklin water stop, 25-mile loop. We start at 6 o'clock. Anyone's welcome to come. I was suggesting that they put something out, find out where a lot of group rides go on weekly, and if teams are willing, they could put that somewhere on the webpage and say unaffiliated, unsanctioned, however you want to put the disclaimers on them. But here are group rides where you can learn to ride in a group. One of our table members is a new captain. Her pedal partner is her son. So special place for me with you. But she was asking about getting together with how to ride in groups. And you gotta find some groups. I think the worst etiquette last year were the people who seemed to be first-year riders, riding by themselves, or 2 or 3 abreast, as we've all had situations. I think riding in those groups would drastically help address some of the etiquette issues along the road. And I'll keep it short. I think that's enough.
Thank you, Tim. Dina's table.
Sorry.
Hello, I'm Dina. Can you hear me? I'm Dina. This is my second year riding and second year captaining. I'm a member of Team Best Friends, sorry. And so in terms of unique recruitment practices, like other teams, when you sign up for, sorry, not recruitment, fundraising practices, when you sign up for our team, you're responsible for your money. But I found that last year when we did team activities and got more people on the team involved for fundraising stuff, it did kind of give us that feel of a team and really bonded certain people in our group that didn't know each other. So some of those things that we've done, March Madness, Super Bowl box pools, things like that, pretty much anything that you can gamble on, we'll just throw on a PMC sticker on it and collect some extra money. We also actually do have, we've had some pretty good success with having, working with a bar or restaurant where they'll mark up their drinks, maybe an extra $2, or we'll charge an entry fee of like $10, $15, go around a bunch of restaurants, get gift certificates and golf rounds donated, and then do either an auction or a raffle. I think we raised somewhere around $5,000-6,000 last year that way as a team. And then the last one was kind of a last-ditch effort. There were a bunch of people that I didn't want to ask to donate again that had already donated. So I designed shirts on a website called Bonfire. It's really easy in the sense that you don't have to put any money up front to get inventory in, and then they'll donate anywhere from like $8 to $10 depending on how you price your your merchandise. They do t-shirts, sweatshirts, pretty much anything, and that raised a solid $3,000 for me personally. So that worked. If anyone else needs unique ideas, in terms of recruitment, guilt is my best friend, but I don't know if you guys have that same kind of luxury. But I've also, last year I had a couple of people I wasn't as close with and wasn't super comfortable pressuring them to kind of get their ducks in a row and start fundraising and stuff like that. And I've kind of come to the conclusion that I only want people on my team as well that are committed, that are willing to really put the effort in, and not just raise $6K, but try and get as much as they possibly can. So that's kind of one of my things. And apologies for anyone that rode next to my team, because I think that might have been some of the etiquette problems, but I promise I've been yelling at them.
All right, and we have the last table, which is Joanne, Charla, and Freddie. So if somebody wants to come up and say a few words. Thank you, Freddie.
Hi, I'm Freddie Cicercia. I'm Team Martinetti. So this is our 27th year riding. I've been captain for 26 years, and actually Billy Starr made me the captain because the first year, about 25 of us, we had no idea what we were doing. We didn't sign up for all the things we were supposed to. We broke all the rules. We didn't realize we'd have rooms for Friday night, so we had 12 people in one room and 14 people in another room. And we also didn't know only 3 people knew we had to sign up for the ferry for the ride back. So what we did was we cut them, and I got a roll of tape, and I went up and down the ramp, passing one and putting it. And Billy Starr saw me. And he grabbed me, and he said, "What's your name?" I said, "Freddie Cicercia." He goes, "You're Team Martinetti. I'm going to kick them out if they act like this again. You're captain, and I'm holding you responsible." So I've been doing it now for 26 years. So as far as fundraising, I'm a big person on basics. So when we have new team members, I reach out to them. I help them write their letters. I talk about snail mail, social media, and email, and how to structure and what to do, use pictures, and just different things to help them do that. We also, being in the wine and spirit business, we do a large wine auction every year. We have access to, we hit our suppliers, and we have access to some pretty good wine. And we did one about a month ago, and we raised about $35,000. So, we do that type of thing. The one thing that we talked about, which I think is really good, the safety and enjoying the ride. We're going to have probably this year 10 or 11 new riders, but a lot of our team, we have a lot of the same members. They aren't really riders. They ride for the PMC, and that's what they do. It's amazing how many people, if you're not an actual cyclist, don't know simple things. And I'll give you one example. Ask your team members how much tire pressure they put in their tires. You'll be shocked. You mean, the answer usually is, I don't know. And you go around and feel their tires, and it's no, you need to have X amount of pounds. And how much do you weigh? You need to have X amount of pounds in your tires. I put out a lot of emails about hydration, because you should be drinking a bottle of electrolytes every 45 to 50 minutes on a ride like Saturday or Sunday. Simple things that a lot of people don't know, and we hit it. And we also do about a 65-mile practice ride about 3 weeks before the PMC. And we try to get as many people as possible. My wife and I put it on. We have food and drinks afterwards. And it always breaks up into maybe 3 or 4 groups. And I write cleanup. I make sure everyone gets in. And it's a good way for them to experience, like, are they in shape enough to do this? What do they have to do? I tell everyone to bring 2 bottles. They brought only 1 water bottle, and they realized that they couldn't get to the next water stop. All basic things that you think people might know, but they don't. So we really hit on that. And then I retired a couple years ago, so I have a little bit more time now. So I make myself available, from helping people buy a bike to meeting me for a 20 or 30-mile ride or whatever. And that's kind of how we do it. And then I think your team you're pretty much full now. We recruit every year. We recruit within our sales force, but we also have family members. So our team this year will be about 45, and about 1/3 will be company personnel, and the rest family and friends. So that's what we do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your invaluable input. We really appreciate it. Just to end off the meeting, I'm gonna give everybody just some time to ask us some questions. If I can't answer, I'll pull up a staff member that can. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to raise their hand so I can call on you. Oh my gosh, do you know what this means? This means I've taught you guys so well that you don't have any questions for me. What's up, Tim?
We talked earlier about restricted funds. Do you know how many of the riders use that? Or how many let it go without specifying?
So off the top of my head, I can't think of exactly how many riders designate their funds, but I'm thinking back to the final number that we gave to Dana-Farber, and about 30% of the 72 million was designated. So, that means 70% is undesignated and goes to Dana-Farber, at Dana-Farber's discretion, but about 30%, I think it was about 25 million of the $72 million gift last year was designated. And if you're interested in seeing more about where those designated funds went to, you can see that on our pie chart on the yearbook, or you can see that on the website.
I was curious the number of riders who designate, not the dollar, just.
So I don't know that off the top of my head, but I can definitely get that. I can definitely get that number to you. I can just look at the spreadsheet that we sent over to Dana-Farber last year, and I can get you like a final, number of how many riders designated their funds versus how many left their funds undesignated. Steve.
I'm just curious, are there any teams here that do not have a pedal partner? So I'm gonna say about that.
Taking names?
Okay. So, Team Kermit rides in memory of my son. And when he passed away in 2003, it took us more than a few years to even consider taking on a pedal partner for obvious reasons. When we finally did, and the circumstances of it were very special, but and I won't go into that, but when we finally did, we realized immediately the kind of impact and the kind of effect that a pedal partner can and will have on your team. It adds so much dimension, and I'm sure that everybody here who does have a pedal partner will agree with me. It adds such another dimension to the team, another connection that all the teammates will make, things that you do with your pedal partner. For the last few years, we've actually had 2 pedal partners, and this year we took on a pedal partner so we have 2 pedal partners this year again. And our new pedal partner turns out to have the same doctor, is being treated for a similar kind of brain cancer, and the lab that Team Kermit funds through Jared Sunflower's fund is resulting in treatment for those 2 pedal partners. So thank you. There are so many things that a pedal partner and the pedal partner's family will bring to your team I urge you to talk to Jessica, to talk to Katie, and to bring a pedal partner onto you.
And your pedal partner actually rode the PMC.
Yeah, so our pedal partner graduated from being too young to even ride a bike and too physically challenged and mentally challenged to ride a bike because of the brain cancer that he had, to being able to ride a bike, doing kids rides, graduating to doing, and then graduating to do the full PMC, and then aging out and surviving out because he's cured of his cancer now to being a pedal partner. So we followed Declan from almost infancy, and now he's a freshman in college.
That's right.
Love it.
Made a difference.
Take on a pedal partner. And if you don't, I'm sending the Brute Squad.
I just wanted to make a quick note on that. So the goal of the PMC is, of course, to have no pedal partners participating in our program because there is no Jimmy Fund clinic because all of these cancers have been cured and are treatable. So for this year, we have 70 pedal partners. There were 23 that were new returning to the program. For the 2024 PMC, pedal partners have been matched with their teams. There are a handful that are still outreach has gone out to the parents. We're still waiting to hear back from them if they'll be participating. But even if you don't have a pedal partner matched with you for your team for this year, you can still participate on PMC weekend. We have the signs leading into the Lakeville water stop. Well, you'll see them, and we'll also have the pedal partner tent. At the Lakeville water stop. If you don't have a pedal partner, but it's a program you're interested in, you still want to be able to see the kids that other teams are riding for. We're all riding for them, even if you're not directly matched. So you're more than welcome and invited to come and stop by that tent. For those of you riding our Sunday routes, we also have the pedal partner signs leading into Babson when you make your way in. So everyone will be involved in the program, even if you're not directly matched. So just wanted to make that note. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask me. Happy to chat about it more.
Thank you, Katie and Steve. I know that JD had his hand raised, so if you want to ask your question, JD.
Yeah. This, just on June 6th, the Young Professional Night, is that?
You're aged out.
Fine young.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering.
Well, did he age out, or is he not a professional?
I refuse to answer that question.
No, I wanted to help promote it, and I wasn't sure whether you guys break out our team list demographically or something, so.
I can answer.
Yeah, so I'll have Susan answer
It's
that.
generally anyone 40 and under who's invited to that. And I think in recent years we've extended that to unpaved and winter cycle participants as well. Anyone in the PMC community is 40 or under. We have not set up the invitations for that yet. We probably won't do that until a little bit later in the spring. But yeah, anyone on your team who's 40 or under, we can share that, and we can make sure that you know captains. Sorry. Yeah, they're welcome to bring a guest with them as well. If you got a team member who's a few years older, like we're not strict about it. You know, if you have a new rider who you think like is 43 really benefit from coming to this, of course they're welcome.
We're not getting carded.
Yeah. I will not.
They're not gonna stand out,
but you know. Yeah, we'll make sure that you guys have that info about that night as well, so you can pass it on down to your team members.
Does anybody else have any questions tonight?
I have a question. Can I put in a 1-minute plug for another way teams can be more involved with Dana-Farber?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, come right on
Do you
up.
want to put in the plug, or you want to do a joint?
Yeah.
We'll do a joint.
There we go.
This is great. Thank
Joint
you guys. This is awesome.
So, I'll take the lead on this. You got it in the name.
Yes, Gary Brodsky, Team Patriot Platelet Peddlers, and I think I actually met Matt in the Kraft Family Blood Donor Center here before I actually even started riding. And that is a wonderful way for all of us and everyone you know to help Dana-Farber with their mission. All of this money, it's great, okay? But as we all know, or maybe we don't, a lot of these therapies are very toxic and they kill platelets. And so platelets cannot be manufactured.
That's correct, and they have a
And-
shelf life of only about what?
It's 72 hours. No.
I'll give you 5 days.
5 days, right.
So, yeah.
No, that's
So
right.
there's a constant demand for platelets. There's also a constant demand for whole blood. And you can donate either here at the Kraft Family Blood Donor Center, just over that way in the next building, in the Jimmy Fund building.
And it's easy. It hurts a little bit. I know Matt has donated 300.
$399.
Wow. I actually got here early today to donate, and as you can see, I don't have any bandages because I had a little minor surgery last week, and they deferred me, but it would have been my 180th donation. I think the message is, this is something that is critical. All of the fundraising, all of the medicines, without the platelets, we're in trouble. Those patients are in trouble. So I invite everybody to roll up your sleeves. It's easy. It takes hour to 2, depending, and you have it easy. We go back to the days where you had one needle in this arm and one needle in this arm, and you sat there like this for 2.5 hours, and God forbid you got an itch. At least if it was your nose, you could ask one of the nurses to come over and scratch it for you. But really great way to
Keep it classy, Gary.
Hey, really great way to take what we do full circle, and we can all do it for the most part. Even if you've had cancer, you may be eligible to donate. So please, 617-632-3206 is the phone number for the donor.
They're absolutely right. It's super easy. I've done it a couple times before, and you get some great snacks and juice of your choice. So, I mean, it really is a win-win for everybody. Before the end of the night, I just want to tell everybody that if you parked here, you're going to want to see Tori, who is standing right over there. She's going to validate your parking. And if I didn't get to your questions, you guys, most of you, if not all of you, know where to find me. And that really wraps things up for tonight. I really, truly, deeply respect and admire this group and all of the hard work that you put forward for your teams, for the PMC, and for Dana-Farber. And it really is my greatest honor and pleasure to work with you guys. And you know that I'm always here to support you. So Jessica at PMC.org, don't hesitate to reach out to me at any time. And thank you all for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful night.